Michael Purcell in Washington, D.C., where he's an adjunct professor at George Washington University, teaching Russia and international security, along with security policy studies. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, is this new fighting in the Kursk region opening a new front to this Russia-Ukraine war?
I think the answer is yes, although it may be temporary. If the goals associated with the incursion are, as President Zelensky mentioned, to remind us of who is at fault and the beginning of this conflict and the continuation of this conflict, that is Russia, and that this is an existential threat that Ukraine faces. I think this was meant to draw our attention and also prove the competence of the Ukrainian armed forces at the moment.
Tell us about the Ukraine's timing of this incursion. Would it have taken Russia by surprise? Because since this war started, we haven't seen many instances where Ukraine has gone so far into Russian territory.
Well, Ukraine, I think, has been constrained by the guidance or advice or conditions maybe placed on the assistance provided by the U.S. and the EU in its ability or willingness to conduct cross-border attacks such as this. We've seen since this attack occurred, public support from both the European Union and from the United States. And we've seen ground equipment, not just indirect assets like rockets or missiles. We've seen ground equipment, armored personnel carriers or tanks provided by the U.S., the European Union, used in this assault. So this is an important escalation, if you will, in terms of what those the NATO, the EU, and the U.S. are willing to support in terms of Ukraine's offensive operations.
And when we look at Ukraine's offensive operations in terms of their goals, if Russia has to move more soldiers to this Kursk area where there is a gas pipeline exporting gas to Europe, as well as a nuclear plant, would it be taking a significant number of Russian soldiers away from other front lines in Ukraine?
Yeah, almost certainly that's the idea, right? Is to force Russia to think harder about defending their entire border, not just the area of current conflict, whether they need to reposition their forces and stop any offensive actions that they have in order to defend their own territory and their own population. And also, I think, to put them on their back foot, if you will, to have them take a step backwards and understand that Ukraine continues to maintain the ability to go on the offensive. And that's an important psychological edge that I think Ukraine has regained with this operation.
There are also these expected talks set to take place in November. Putin has said he is looking to reach some sort of agreement. But could Ukraine be using this offensive to put more pressure on Russia ahead of those expected talks?
Yes, and not just pressure, but to position themselves as a stronger party, if you will, to enter into any kind of negotiations. Nobody wants to go into a talk with somebody like Putin demonstrating any kind of weakness. He seems to only understand strength, and I think that's what Ukraine would like to demonstrate prior to any type of engagement across a negotiating table.
Michael Purcell, good to get your analysis, speaking to us there from the U.S. Capitol. Thank you very much.